Much it's all broken down. This one is actually
Baby boy.
tissue paper, like a Kleenex.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't really break down, right? And this one is a flushable wipe. See how nothing has happened to it? This one's a paper towel, like you use at work. Hey, how y'all doing?
So
You
why
don't want
is
to try fishing for poop? You can use the net or the fishing pole, whatever you want. It's called a craft towel, a craft paper towel.
the brown one?
The brown ones, yes.
Got you.
Feel like you're wiping with a paper bag, yes.
Okay. So yeah, I see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, it's people don't realize that these do nothing.
They were on camera. Say hi.
Yeah, we actually drive them by remote, control the sewer systems, inspect everything, and check for damage and where it needs repair.
You guys do routine or just like if they're suspected?
We're on routines. We continue. We also run the bagger down there, a big truck that pressure cleans the insides of all the sewer lines. And then we run the cameras and look for anything broken or needs repair.
Cool.
So we just keep
Yeah,
on
that
moving.
camera too, though.
Yep, that's a poke camera for laterals.
Yeah.
And for our bigger cameras like this, we run the crane because they're so heavy. Lift them up, drop them in. Sometimes we have really deep manholes that we have to drop them into.
Oh, that's right.
Cool.
That's a pretty nice setup.
Yeah. And actually, when we typically run the camera, we have an office behind that door with monitors and screens the same as you see out here.
Yeah.
But we record all the information and send it to engineers and whatnot. So
Pretty advanced.
better than the old ways they would do it.
So, metal detector now?
Yep.
Metal detector?
Want to try it? Try it.
Wanna try it yet?
Oh.
You'll like that.
Sometimes we have manholes that are buried under dirt and
Yeah.
grass, and we got to locate them, and that's the usual way to do it. So.
Try it yet?
Yes, anything that's metal, that'll find. So.
Have it right here. Got it?
Nothing wrong.
Put your arm underneath.
Try to get close to metal.
Press metal. Let's check his boots again. How many of these you guys have?
We have about, I think it's 4 total.
Oh, Charlie, you raise your hand. What do you think? What do you think about it? They suck you up in there? Yeah. They're very good.
Pick up any blockages that's in the line, and whatever flows my direction, that's when I use the vac to actually vacuum it out of there, remove the blockage. Sometimes we have to use different type heads. If it's a lovely tree root because of your magnolia infiltrated the line, then we have the heads with the chains on it, and they spin around and they would actually cut the roots and clear it out, and it gets vacuumed in to my tank. You know.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Got a lot of cool tools.
You do, huh? I know, but you want to go look at this pipe? It's bigger than you.
Okay.
The gentleman in the green shirt, his name is Charles. His team kind of determined the programs
And look in the rearview mirror. Yes.
like any new system automatically have.
They don't.
Lanyards over there. Lanyards.
Audio version of the tour, but we will be stopping for questions at different locations. So if you just hold off until the recording goes away, then you can ask your questions. Let's get started. This facility was originally known as the North Plant and started as a 3 million gallon a day facility. It was eventually renamed after Pinellas County's very first director for the sewer department, Mr. William Elliott Dunn. He played a pivotal role in developing the county's current sewer collection and treatment system. This 9 million gallon a day facility replaced the original plant in 1987. It consolidated the wastewater treatment from the original facility and a couple of other package plants in the area. Wastewater can come from a variety of sources, such as sinks, toilets, washing machines, pretty much anything that goes down the drain. After entering the sewer system, wastewater is transported to the facility through a network of pump stations. Here in North County, there are 153 pump stations that transport wastewater to this building on your left that we call our headworks. Wastewater is about 99% water, with the remainder being organics like food and human waste, debris such as toilet paper, or any toys your toddler may have thrown down the toilet. And then we use a vortex grit removal system to separate out any sand or gravel that may have been picked up along the way. All right, any questions so far? Cool. After it has been screened, the wastewater then goes to our biological treatment trains to remove a majority of the waste. Our facility is considered a 5-stage Bardenco facility, and that is because we use a biological treatment system created by James Barnard, BAR, to assist with denitrification, DEN, and phosphorus removal, PHO, Barden-PHO. Too much nitrogen and phosphorus in the environment can cause overgrowth of aquatic vegetation, leading to oxygen depletion and fish kills. To remove those excess nutrients, we rely on the microorganisms. They require food and oxygen to thrive, just like us. The incoming wastewater provides the food, and we provide the oxygen. However, we encourage the growth of different. Each stage has a different oxygen level, and the happiest bugs in that stage provide a different function. So this entire slab of concrete is the 5 different basins. Actually, there's 10, 11 different basins technically that provide each of those functions. The ones that we just passed is the fermentation, so we do not introduce any new air. So any oxygen that has been deprived from the environment from the lift stations to our facility, we continue to stress out the bugs. They'll release as much phosphorus as they're holding on to in their cells, but then they can pick up more by doing that once they get further down the system. This next tank is our first anoxic. It's actually a mix of the oxidation, which is further down, and the fermentation that's coming in. That allows the super stressed out bugs to come in and strip the oxygen, which is the denitrification that talked about earlier. That will release the nitrogen into the air, and so remove it from our system. In here, this is the longest portion of our train, the longest contact time. This is the oxidation station, or carousel. We actually use mixers to basically agitate the water and add more oxygen. So that is easy oxygen for them to just do what they need to do to feed and reproduce and get as happy and healthy as they want to be. During this stage, they'll pick up more phosphorus than what they released earlier in the tank, and then they'll just carry it around in their fat little bellies. Then we have a second anox. So this will actually remove any nitrogen that was left over from the previous stage. And then we have a smaller re-aeration tank, which allows us to give it a little bit more oxygen so we could do a little bit more phosphorus removal and make sure that the plants are going to be able to survive through the next stage.
By the end of the process, the bugs have converted most of the waste into harmless byproducts, absorbed a significant amount of phosphorus, and released most of the nitrogen into the air. We then separate the biological solids from the water using these clarifiers. The less dense water moves up and over a dam-like structure called a weir, while the heavier solids fall to the bottom and are transported to the sludge pumping building. These solids are now called activated sludge because they contain the community of bugs we've grown throughout the treatment process. The bugs will be hungry and eager to work when we pump them back to the beginning of the treatment trains. Some of them will be wasted, but we'll discuss that later.
So we have a total of 6 clarifiers that we have in service at all times. And like the audio said, the water will go over to be filtered, which will be our next station. And then the solids follow down to the bottom and are sent to this pumping station. From here, part of it gets sent back to the process trains, where the bugs that have already grown and are a lot older can start the treatment process. So we can get started as soon as they're pumped back. And then some of them will be wasted, which we will touch on later.
The water from the clarifiers is then sent for filtration. Recently, we've upgraded to cloth filters, which have enabled us to process more water than our previous system. These filters efficiently remove any remaining solids that may have been suspended in the water. Suspended solids can hinder the disinfection process, so it is we keep track of solids by monitoring the cloudiness of the water, or what we call turbidity.
That we remove any suspended solids because it will make it harder for us to make sure that we kill the pathogens in the next step. So we want to make sure we remove everything. This is also a better system for collection of microplastics that we want to make sure that we try to get out of the water, but because that's such a new concern, relatively new, the technologies are still developing for that, but we have what's so far one of the better ones in the industry for us to be able to do that. And then from there, we monitor the cloudiness of the water to make sure that we've removed as many solids as we possibly can.